Interested in John Blow's Sokoban game coming out this year. Yeah, that's maybe my most anticipated game right now, Order of the Sinking Star. And I mean, even with him, you can see what I was talking about. Like, there's a little bit of a money issue. he managed to he managed to pull together a lot of funding to make The Witness happen, even though that was an insanely ambitious game. And like pretty experimental game. He managed to pull together a lot of money for that, and didn't have to work with a publisher. Whereas now he's working with a publisher. Although maybe he's just changed his mind. Maybe he just sees it as more valuable to save his time and not have to do the marketing stuff himself and things like that. Maybe a relatively good deal with a publisher is just actually worth it by his assessment now, whereas it wasn't back then. But it does seem like money is tighter in general. Yeah. But yeah, Order of the Sinking Star it looks great. Apparently, it's 500 hours long, which that alone has me interested. But it's a John Blow game. There's just certain artists, and I'm going to talk about this later with Love Eternal, because there's just certain artists that know how to communicate with me through their work, right? And there's only a few of those in games that, like, every time I boot up their game, I can be pretty sure that, like, I'm in good hands. I like have that sense of faith in the game designer or in the artist, like, because this is not really just a games thing. I have the sense that I'm in good hands, and like I feel like when I'm confused, it's because I'm supposed to be confused. It's not because something has gone wrong with the communication. I'm able to get on the wavelength, right? And yeah, John Blow is just one of those people who really knows how to do that. He really knows how to care about every player's experience at a really granular level, and like get inside the player's head and always be one step ahead, always having clarity to what he's doing. Not in the sense of like it's obvious, easy to understand everything, but in the sense of he is always doing exactly what he wants to do. The experience that you are having is the experience that he wanted you to have. I mean, maybe he would want you to be a different type of person who can appreciate it more, but he made the thing that he wanted to make. Yeah, Braid Anniversary Edition clearly didn't do as well as he hoped for, which is unfortunate. I think it would be easy for him to assume, based on the reception at the time, that like, oh, a Braid remake would obviously be big. Like, it was a big game at the time, but I think mainstream games, like game reviewer, that type of taste, right? If you're the type of person who cares a lot about Metacritic scores and what mainstream game reviews have to say, that type of taste has kind of drifted away from Braid over the years since 2008. The people who really love John Blow, obviously there's a cohort there, but and those people still, they surely bought the game for the most part. I mean, even them, even a lot of them probably didn't buy the game, because really the main selling point is the commentary. But unless you're just like ready to replay it anyway, it's really not a strong remake in terms of like new selling points. I feel like the graphics are better. I do think it looks better, but and it actually sounds a lot better too. But that's pretty minor in terms of the appeal of the game overall. So yeah, it's not too surprising to me that it didn't do that well, but it is unfortunate, because I would have liked him to have more money. I always want him to have more money. Um, Although it's possible that he runs out of money and has to shut down the studio and has to start making games by himself, and that actually turns out better somehow. And at least for me, for my taste, like maybe we get a lot of like smaller, more experimental stuff from him that's not quite as polished, but like is more interesting. Like, that would be cool. I think no matter what happens, we're gonna get interesting games from Jonathan Blow. So I'm not worried. Like, I'm not that worried. But yeah, curious about J Blow's game, because Sokoban has been pushed so far. Have a hard time envisioning how you can create 1,000 more novel puzzles. My instinct is it's not concise enough, but I won't write it off early. I think the fact that he's making 1,000 puzzles is actually what gives it the new appeal. It is actually what makes it new enough. Seeing that scale attacked will be interesting, I think. And I like the framing of it as like four separate games that get combined. And I don't know. I just think that I think he has played all these other games, and he wouldn't do stuff, or at least he wouldn't linger unnecessarily long on ideas that feel overdone and stuff like that. And you know, Jack Lance, the creator of Enigmash, actually worked on Order of the Sinking Star quite a bit. So that's another thing that just, you know, there's two different designers involved with this game, both of whom I would play anything that they make day one. Like they have, both of them have earned my trust to an extreme degree. Um, so I have a hard time believing that I'm not going to enjoy it, but we'll see. I have played a lot of Pokemon games, and you know, but you know, I just reviewed Where's My Egg the other day, right? That game was like very derivative, and I would still say I enjoyed it at like a 6 out of 10 level, right? Like I still enjoyed it a lot more than the average game I play, which is, you know, maybe a 4 out of 10 or something. I just think there's more room for interesting stuff in Sokobon than you might think, and I think John Blow can do it.